Hi, welcome back. I'd like you to imagine a bowl of Jell-O that you've just freshly made. And you know the surface of the Jell-O after it's hardened a little bit is nice and slippery and slimy. That's what fascia should feel like when you're actually working on it. And today, Brett's going to continue doing some manual work for us and describe the difference between that nice fresh Jell-O and the type of Jell-O that's been sitting on the counter, say, for 2 or 3 days. The surface is all tight and gooey. Even though you know inside is still Jell-O, it's not the kind of Jell-O you actually want to eat. So maybe you can describe to us, hopefully in Jell-O terms, what exactly you're feeling. If you want to go away from the Jell-O analogy, feel free.
Okay.
But maybe let us know what you're feeling as you're working along.
I'd love to. Great. So today we have this lovely young man on the table. And what I was going to do is start with his legs. And part of the reason why I wanted to do that, Cameron, is just by viewing his legs, I can see there's a tension, a binding in here.
Okay.
The fascia in here is thicker.
Now, how can you tell that just by looking at it?
Hard to explain. It's I can reaffirm that as I move it. I have no answer really. It's just something that's learned through doing the method.
Okay. So you're not looking for like an orthopedic point of view where the joints rotated or the foot's rotated?
I'm not looking for that. No, it's more of a. There's an art to this practice as well. So we're balancing function and art. And when I view his legs here, I can see that we're not getting enough spring between the tibia and the fibula.
Okay.
And
so
that's
the two main bones in the foot.
That's what I'm seeing. If I had to detail it a bit more, is the relationship between the tibia and fibula.
Okay.
Is what I'm looking at. And what happens here is the fascia will bind between, and then they don't move. They're like two bones stuck parallel to each other.
Right.
And what we really want is as the weight moves through the ankle, it spreads the two bones down here at the bottom. So as this bone slides through, it spreads these two, and we get a little bit of spring through the tibia and fibula. Okay. And that acts like a spring. You've probably heard that expression, spring in your step.
Spring in your step, sure.
A lot of that comes from here.
Comes up
and
from there.
So I've worked enough on people that just by seeing this now, I can see that's going to be getting in his way.
Great skill.
In his spring. So what I can do, I like to double check things and come at it from a few different angles. And so what I'll do is I'll just grab his ankle and put in a little bit of movement, and I'm feeling for that first resistance. First resistance I feel, in this case, is going to be up through here.
Okay.
And so that's the fascia that's going to be surrounding the tibia, close to the bone here. And so what I do is I'll get just a slight little bit of lubrication. I don't want too much because I don't want to slide over the fascia. I actually want to hook it.
Okay.
I want to kind of grab the fascia and take it along with me. So you can see my left hand here is holding his foot. My right hand here is going to that place that I felt was not moving. First resistance that I felt not moving. And so I can move his foot back and forth, and it can act for me like a lever as I work the fascia of the tibia.
Okay.
And what I'm looking to do here is loosen the fascia on the tibia, because when it's held too tight, it's putting a constriction on the bone in a way. It's like it's locked in that, and often we see that with adolescents as they go through puberty and they grow very quickly.
Right.
We can see that fascia around the bone getting really locked in tight. So that's what we'll work on here. I'm using physical direct pressure, and I'm taking I'm feeling down to the fascia layer, and once I get to the layer that I want to work, that I feels tight, I stay on there. Stay on that layer. I don't want to go deeper, and I don't want to go more shallow.
Okay.
So I'll stay it, but work its length. And I'm feeling for the relationship of that fascia and the bone, the tibia.
And you're trying to feel now some sort of release.
I'm giving it enough challenge that it will release.
Okay.
Not too much that it will tighten.
Right.
If I go too strong, there'll be a tightening in the body.
Right.
And so we don't want that. If I go too light, we won't get the body's attention.
Right, okay.
And nothing will happen. And that's different from person to person and spot to spot. So it's, I just get to a certain level and it's a feeling. It's like, that's it. That's the layer. Ideally, what I'm really trying to do here is communicate back and forth with the fascia of the body.
Okay.
And so
you have to be very mindful, very present in your
extremely
work.
Present in the work. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
doing Rolfing is like working on shifting sands, Ida Rolf said once. It's like my foundation keeps moving and I have to just ride that.
Adapt to it.
Yeah,
Yes.
adapt to that. Okay, so once we get enough change here and I feel happy with that, I will retest and I'll feel for the next resistance. And the next one here for me will be on the back of the leg here.
Okay.
So we keep repeating.
You just keep repeating.
So I'll grab a little bit of lubrication again, just a touch,
Mm-hmm.
and start working the back of the leg here. And again, I can use my leg here as a lever to get that foot moving. Because if I get some movement here, it's going to get his attention, the nervous system attention. If I'm trying to separate a fascial adhesion of one muscle to another, if I get movement in there, there's a much better chance that we'll get the shearing force we need for the separation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, are the movements always passive, or does the patient ever actively?
I'll ask the patient to do things as well.
Well.
In this case, I'll just keep it passive.
Right.
But in other cases, I'll have them do active release. So sometimes when I'm doing back work, I'll have the patient, it's very common in Rolfing actually, to roll through the contact as we come down through the back. Yeah.
They call that back striping or stripping?
Yeah.
Back stripping?
Exactly.
Yes. So then how do you know when your work is done there?
Again, it's a feeling in the fascia.
Okay.
And that's something we learn. Once I've worked with someone, I see how they responded the next week, then I know whether we did too much or too little sometimes.
Okay.
I'm usually spot on, but maybe a little bit this way, a little bit that way, so I adjust.
That happens.
But it's also a feeling in the moment.
Okay.
Once I feel like the fascia is, again, it's a feeling. The fascia feels like it's done. It's not ready for any more input. It needs to integrate the change that we put in there.
Perfect.
And what will happen is it just won't respond too much to my touch anymore. Once
done.
it's done, it's like, I'm not getting that response anymore. Instead of going harder and forcing it, it's like, okay, let's go somewhere else.
Okay.
And that, for example, once we do some release in here and we get enough change in here, and then the fascia in his system here says, I'm done, we might go somewhere else. We might go up to his head and make sure that there's enough freedom in the head and there's enough freedom in the ankles.
Okay, to compensate, yeah.
Yeah, just so that they can match better, because we're looking to balance the tension in the whole system.
Speaking of done, I think we're almost done. I'm getting the cues from the camera person that we're actually running out of time. So thank you for showing us that. And that actually hopefully gives people a time at home to be able to understand what they might be feeling, where they might need some Rolfing, might need some fascial work.
Great.
Thank you very much, folks, for watching again Choices. We hope to always bring you some choices in your healthcare. So, Brett, thank you very much for bringing us this choice of working on your fascia.
Cameron.
It's been very enlightening. Thank you. And on behalf of the crew here at Choices and Shaw Studios, I'd like to thank you for watching, and we wish you well and stay well and keep looking for choices in your healthcare. My name's Cameron Moffatt, and thank you very much.